Yosoboyo and welcome to Cardiff Queen Street. And first up we see the departure of 150-250, working the 14-2050 Transport for Wales service from Pontypridd through to Cardiff Bay. And I will cut that out straight away as we see the arrival of 150-280, working the 1452 Transport for Wales service from Penarth through to Corriton. Next out to depart is 231003, working the 1454 Transport for Wales service from Bargoed through to Barry Island. Arriving next into the station will be 231011, working the 1456 Transport for Wales service from Barry Island through to Bargoed. Next out to depart is 153-320, working the 1459 Transport for Wales service from Corriton through to Penarth. Arriving to terminate with a Transport for Wales service off Cardiff Bay is 150-250. Arriving next into the station is 150-217, working the 1500 Transport for Wales service from Aberdare through to Merthyr Tydfil. Departed over on the far side is 150-250, working the 1502 Transport for Wales service through to Cardiff Bay. Next up to arrive at the station is 150-251, working the 1504 Transport for Wales service from Cardiff Central through to Treherbert. Departing next from the station is 150-257, working the 1504 Transport for Wales service from Rumney through to Barry Island. Next up to arrive all in its lonesome is 153914 with the 1508 Transport for Wales service and Penarth through to Caerphilly. Departing next from the station will be 150256, working the 1507 Transport for Wales service from Merthyr Tydfil through to Aberdare. Arriving next into the station will be 150250, working the 1512 Transport for Wales service from Cardiff Bay through to Pontypridd. Next up to depart for the station is 150213, working the 1512 Transport for Wales service from Treherbert through to Cardiff Central. Arriving next at the station will be 231008, working the 1515 Transport for Wales service from Barry Island through to Rumney. Departing over on the far side is 153926, with the 1515 Transport for Wales service from Caerphilly through to Penarth. Departing right behind that will be 150254, working the 1520 Transport for Wales service from Pontypridd through to Cardiff Bay. Coming in the opposite direction is 153333 and 153913, working the 1522 Transport for Wales service from Penarth through to Corriton. Next in to arrive at the station is 231007, working the 1526 Transport for Wales service from Barry Island through to Bagoed. Next train out to depart is 150229, with the 1524 Transport for Wales service of Bagoed through to Barry Island. Arriving to terminate with a Transport for Wales service off Cardiff Bay is 150-254. Next out to depart is 150-280, working the 1529 Transport for Wales service from Corriton through to Penarth. Arriving next into the station will be 150-284, working the 1530 Transport for Wales service from Aberdare through to Merthyr Tydfil. And departing over on the far side is 150-254 with the 1532 Transport for Wales service through to Cardiff Bay. Arriving next into the station is 150-213 with the 1534 Transport for Wales service from Cardiff Central through to Treherbert. Next train out to depart is 153-921 and 153-353, working the 1534 Transport for Wales service from Rugby through to Bridgend. Whilst coming in the opposite direction is 153-320, working the 1538 Transport for Wales service from Penarth through to Caerphilly. Next out to depart from the station is 150-283, working the 1537 Transport for Wales service from Merthyr Tydfil through to Aberdare. Next train to arrive at the station is 150-254, working the 1542 Transport for Wales service from Cardiff Bay through to Pontypridd. Whilst departing in the opposite direction is 150-241, with the 1542 Transport for Wales service from Treherbert through to Cardiff Central. Arriving next at the station is 150-240, with the 1545 Transport for Wales service from Bridgend through to Lumley. Departing over on the far side is 153914 with the 1545 Transport for Wales service from Caerphilly through to Penarth. Arriving next at the station is 150231 with the 1550 Transport for Wales service from Pontypridd through to Cardiff Bay.
Platform 2 for the 1550 Transport for Wales service to Cardiff Bay.
Next out to depart is 153926 with the 1552 Transport for Wales service from Penarth through to Corriton. And to take us to our next station, here comes 231004 with the 1554 Transport for Wales service from Buggoed through to Barry Island.
Barry ac Ynys y Barry. Platform 3 am y gwasanaeth 6:44 o'r gloch Trafnidiaeth Cymru I Ynys y Barry.
The train now approaching platform 3 is the 1554 Transport for Wales service to Barry Island. Grangetown, Cogan, Eastbrook, Dinas Powers, Cadoxton, Barry Docks, Barry and...
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed what you saw, click on the 2 videos here at the end screen. Helps out the channel. Also, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you are new and got this far. And we'll see you all in the next video, folks, wherever that may take us. We'll see you then, folks.